Now the thing is, a lot of modern SUVs claim to be able to do all this off-road nonsense, and then they generally get scared at the sight of a puddle. However, GWM, or specifically the new GWM Tank 300, claims to be the SUV that can do everything, because they started out the day looking like this, and now they look like this. Now, to find out how they've gotten looking like this, we're going to go on an exclusive media preview here at M4 Trek to see just how capable the new Tank 300 is. My name is AIMAN ABDULLAH, this is Malaysian Motoring, and this is our off-road media preview of the new GWM Tank 300. So now we've got the Tank 300 on slightly more reasonable surfaces, just to get a mild idea of what this essentially truck is like on something slightly less challenging. So before we get onto the off-road section, obviously it's important for us to figure out what this car is like when you're not tackling difficult terrain. So under the bonnet you have a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine producing about 220 PS and something that effect about 380 Newton meters of torque, if I believe. And if I'm wrong, you'll see the stats now. And the power goes to all four wheels via a part-time four-wheel drive system where you can select between 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. Now, this naturally gives the car a degree of ability off-road, but more importantly, it also allows this car to do pretty well on-road. Because this is, apparently, China's #1 best-selling off-road SUV. It's a very specific category. But what that means is, obviously, this car has to be good on-road. So now that we've finally found some tarmac, I can say that this 4-cylinder engine does seem quite refined in the sense that it sounds as if it's very far away and very, very well insulated. And so the noise doesn't really get into the cabin much. On top of that, the controls in this car are surprisingly light for something like this. I mean, the last time I drove a proper off-road SUV like this was a Jeep Wrangler, and that was incredibly difficult to maneuver. And so the ability, the refinement on offer from this GWM, a brand, the Tank brand, for example, has only been around for about 3 years, is very impressive, and it also speaks to the capability of GWM as a company. Now, of course, this is not going to be really representative of how these cars are going to be used most of the time. Not here, and neither will it be off-road. So we can only give you some preliminary details about how we think this car is going to react. The throttle response is surprisingly good. Of course, we're in a comfort mode now in 4 high because that's basically what we're limited to at the moment. And it does seem reasonably responsive. The steering is accurate, albeit a bit dead. But more importantly, it's the refinement in here, the lack of noise that's quite impressive. Even though we're going over gravel tracks, I'm not hearing much noise of stones being kicked up into the wheel wells and so on. So this is all very positive indeed. Now, at the time of filming, we don't have the prices just yet, but by the time this video launches, the prices would have gone out, and so you will have those prices on the screen. Now, as they alluded to at the Malaysia Auto Show, the first set of buyers for the Tank 300 will receive an introductory launch package, which means that they should be relatively competitive and quite compelling purchases. I'm actually very impressed with how this car is managing sealed surfaces, roads, to you and me, because I certainly wouldn't expect it from something that looks like this and drives like this and is being marketed the way it is. So, okay, it seems alright on-road, so I guess now we just have to figure out what it's like off-road. So right now we're on a pretty easy sort of off-road track, you know, just a little bit of dirt and so on, and it just seems, and you know, this is just sort of what one would normally do in any regular SUV. 4-wheel drive isn't even needed here. I'm pretty sure I've done this in a Myvi. But this is just to demonstrate how the GWM maintains pretty good composure through scenarios like this. Obviously, the Tank 300 can do a lot more, a lot better than this, but this is just sort of, again, a more realistic demonstration of how most customers are expected to use this. Although, things are going to get a lot hairier once we progress onto some of the challenges that we have in store. So now we're in 4-low mode as things are, again, about to get a little bit hairier. So we've immediately got a little bit of loose surfacing as we climb up a hill. Again, it's worth bearing in mind that this Tank 300 is running highway terrain tires. Is exactly how the cars will be delivered. There have been no modifications made to these vehicles, which means that they are expected to be able to do this straight off the bat. And I'm entirely reliant on my instructor to ensure that I don't end up rolling down a cliff. So first up, we have a log bridge. Now, this is to demonstrate the Tank 300's excellent 360-degree cameras, which more importantly also offer something called a transparent chassis mode. This is very similar to what we've seen before from Land Rover, and this should allow us to line the wheels up perfectly with the logs that have been set to ensure that we don't end up in a gully. Alright, so here we go. Ooh.
Just let it crawl.
This is terrifying.
Yeah, just look at the front. Do not let the screen distract you.
Oh
right.
God,
let it
above.
crawl, just feet on the brakes to just maintain the pace.
Ooh, okay.
Right, just let it crawl through.
So there is some degree of contact between the chassis strut members and the ground, which we've been assured is perfectly fine because this course has been checked thoroughly, and so there's no damage going to these cars. But more importantly, it's going through here without any concern at all. However, oh jeez, this is
straight up before you do a full turn.
okay.
Okay, full turn all the way to the right. Go down with the
Down
speed.
this angle.
No throttle, brakes only.
Okay.
Just tap a little bit. Okay, good. Let it crawl through. Let it crawl through. It's all safe.
This is
just, feet on the brakes.
absolutely
Stand by.
terrifying.
Right. Just.
Ooh,
Oops.
Lord above.
Alright, then you'll head out straight here.
Good God.
Yep.
Okay, well, I think the car is more capable than my nerves, but there we are.
Once you
So now we're going to do something called a tank turn, which is something that GWM is very, very proud of with their Tank 300 series. So essentially what happens is the car will break the inside wheel in a corner to allow you to maneuver in through much tighter spaces than you normally would if you were to be reliant entirely on the car's turning radius. So with the engagement of just a couple of buttons, I'm told to just, okay,
turn all the way first.
right,
Turn all the steering
okay,
before you pull the
so full lock
Tap a little bit
on the throttle.
You let it go to the magic. Okay.
Oh,
Can you feel it?
oh, okay, so I'm not doing anything at all.
Yeah, it's holding the rear tires.
Right.
One of the tire on your driver's side, and it's doing the turning for you.
I
Okay,
see.
step on the brake to disable it. Release the steering, then it will switch off by itself.
Ah, okay.
It's
That's
engaged.
surprisingly easy.
Alright, okay.
So now we're going to do a water wading test. Now, the GWM Tank 300 is rated for a 700mm wading depth, which is precisely what we have in front of us now. And compared to other vehicles where we're told to switch off the air conditioning and so on, apparently in the tank we don't have to. And more importantly, in terms of visually, the water level is notably just above the height of the tires, which also means it's well above the bottom of the doors. So let's see if my feet get wet here.
Just crawling smoothly, doing as smooth as you can, not to create any splash on top of the bonnet. Once you
Right.
get it in, then you'll just throttle up to maintain the smoothness of the vehicle.
Okay. Now we're still in 4 low, which means that the car is crawling well on its own now, and that is a lot of water.
More power, please.
Okay.
Alright. Good.
And it's gotten through that very, well, what some would consider a pond without too much issue at all. So far, so good. Very smooth. And it's certainly indicative of how capable this car really is. The last SUV that we tested out here was the Jayco J7, which I suspect is not quite as capable as this, but then again, it doesn't really have to be. So apparently this turn does not necessitate the use of the tank turn function, so we're all good here. Now we're moving on to the axle twister. Now this particular segment it has 2 purposes. Firstly is to show how capable the traction control system is by being able to control the speed of different wheels as they come off of the ground. The other benefit is also to figure out the torsional rigidity of the chassis itself. With 2 wheels off the ground, that's usually when a chassis is under the most amount of flex and tension, and so the ability to open and close the doors, for example, is a good demonstration of seeing just how rigid this axle is. So now, just gentle throttle.
Gentle throttle, just then let it crawl through.
Okay.
Let it crawl through until you feel the wheel spin. We will
Right.
stop the car on the brakes.
Okay.
And then we'll turn on the differential lock.
Right.
Okay. Alright, is it spinning now? Can you feel it?
It might be, yes.
Alright, can stop the left throttle, step on the brakes. Okay,
Okay.
currently I will help you to turn on the rear differential lock.
Alright.
Can give it a tap on the throttle.
Ooh,
Voila,
okay.
rolling.
So at which point will we, at which point do we have both wheels in the air? About now?
No, left and right.
Right, so have we got both left and right now? Or?
No.
Okay.
Just now the earlier one.
Right.
Yeah, it's a short.
And now we've still got, okay.
Right, and turn right now.
Oh,
Full right.
okay. Okay. No fuss, no stress.
Yep.
Very surprised.
Hits toward the signboard and to the left.
Okay. So far, what the Tank 300 is demonstrating to us is that it's basically unflappable. And again, this is very impressive given the tires that they've chosen to use for this event, because these are basically delivery spec. Now, normally for stuff like this, even on pickup trucks and so on, we're told that they run various all-terrain tires or off-road tires. So this, being able to do this just essentially out of the box, is very impressive indeed. Now we're going on to something called a ridge crossing, which again is a test of the traction control as well as the torsional rigidity of the vehicle. So we're going to try to open the doors here. Is that possible? Great. All right, so now...
Let's let it crawl up slowly until
Okay.
the top. You can stop the vehicle and open the door.
All right. So right now, this is slightly more terrifying for me because all I can see at this point is the sky.
Let it crawl through.
Okay.
Okay, stop the vehicle. Stop now.
Right.
You tap a little bit more so we can do in between. Alright, you can stop.
Ooh.
Alright,
So right now we've got two wheels off the ground, right?
put it on neutral.
Neutral.
Neutral. Or okay, to be safe, let's do it on parking first.
Okay.
You can open the door now.
There's absolutely no catch at all. This is incredibly rigid. And again, it's very impressive that the Tank 300 is able to do this. And now, ooh.
Turn, keep to the right.
Okay.
Try to go towards the edge of the reach.
Now, in terms of the angle, which I'm pretty sure you can't see on camera, it's currently at about 25 degrees. GWM says that the Tank 300 is rated for up to 35 degrees, so we're well within its safe zone, although if you didn't tell me that, I wouldn't believe you. Ooh,
Just let it crawl through.
ooh, oh God.
Right. It's very smooth.
Yep.
Alright, so turn to your left and turn to your right up.
I think what this course is demonstrating is that this car is far more capable than I am. Ooh. And, ooh. In essence, I think what GWM is trying to demonstrate to us here today is the fact that no matter what you try and do, the tank should be generally all right. I think the last time I've driven a car with this sort of capability was a Defender, or in fact, indeed a Land Cruiser. So this is all very good for something that promises at least to be significantly more affordable. Now, at the time of filming, naturally, we still do not have the launch prices for these cars, but we're told that it should be somewhere between 200 to 250,000 ringgit broadly. So we'll see how that pans out a little bit later, but for now, we need to up. Right.
To the right.
So right now, I just need to keep everything under control and try not to launch this down a hill.
We will hit the next obstacle, it's going to be the gully.
Okay.
We will hit towards the white signboard.
Right. Ooh. What? Now, it is worth noting that it did rain on this course very, very badly at some point last night, which means this is a lot muddier than it was the last time when I was here. So this is truly a test of traction.
Just get straight up, keep the left wheel on the side here.
Through
And
here?
crawl. Yeah, let's give it a try.
Good Lord.
Okay. Let it crawl through, no throttle. Just let it crawl through, hold the steering firmly, do not let it spin. Okay, slowly glide through.
Again, I don't think this is coming across on camera, but in events like these, I am putting my entire faith on the instructor with me, because I just look at this and back off.
Alright, Ken. We will try to tackle this on a straight line as well.
Okay.
So this, let it glide through. Maintain the straight steering position on the 1010.
There's a rock.
Yes, we will go across the rock. Yeah, just let it glide through.
Okay. See,
Alright.
absolute full faith in what I'm being
Just
told.
maintaining the straight position.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, just let it glide
Ooh.
through. Do not throttle.
Okay. Ooh.
We want to be as slow as possible
Ooh.
and get everything in control.
Okay.
Alright, just let it go.
This is not straight.
Yep.
I-
And let it crawl through.
Over the rock? Oh,
Alright,
jeez.
done.
Good Lord. Oh.
Let it crawl through. Done.
So after this, we've got something called a log track, where in addition to a difficult climb, they've also set up some logs across a pathway, again, to sort of upset the car's traction as much as possible, to again demonstrate how capable the car is to be able to figure out where to put that power based on the traction that's available. So again, we're going through more rocks, which is fun. Oh god.
Let it crawl up slowly.
Okay.
Let it crawl up. Okay, just tap a little bit more. Okay, let's go.
Oh,
Okay, throttle it.
okay.
Alright, all good. Okay, maintaining the straight line as well.
Right.
Okay, just carry a little bit of momentum. And we'll be all good.
Okay.
Alright. A little bit more power.
Right.
It's effortless.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. Oh, Lord. Okay, these logs are quite big. Oh, Christ. Oh, God in heaven.
Okay, good. The next one is going to be the creator.
Right,
So just let it crawl up and fits on the brake just when
Okay.
we are going downwards.
right, okay.
Okay.
And it's the fact that it's able to do all of this on mud, again on highway terrain tires, is very impressive. So I can feel the car sort of feeding in power, trying to get me over this crater. Oh, Lord. Ooh, all I can see is ground. Ooh,
Okay, good. Avoid the cone.
huh?
Drive out the other way.
Oh,
Yeah,
God. It's not going that way.
So let's stop the car.
Okay.
First. We shall reverse back.
Okay.
Alright.
See, so sometimes things do go wrong. Oh, God in heaven.
Steering straight. The steering is
Nope.
not
Okay, now it's straight.
Okay, stop.
Yep.
Reverse. Reverse.
See, the fact that I can get stuck in stuff like this is great because it means that you don't have to. Okay.
Keep the steering in a straight line, so you just go up straight.
That way, yeah?
On gear 2 and
Right.
1,
Not
2.
two.
Give it a nudge.
This is a bit more than a nudge, mate. Oh! It doesn't want to. Yeah, oh yes it will. Oh, good Lord.
Well
Okay.
done. Good job. Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to go back to my EV shortly. So it's gone back into first gear to get us through this.
Yep.
Having a low-range gearbox does help a lot as we navigate through this.
Direction, but before you enter, make sure it's in a straight line.
Yep. Ooh, that isn't straight.
I will switch off.
So now we're going to try the hill descent mode. So essentially we have to go down a 40-degree slope and I'm going to be relying entirely on the car. So I've switched on the hill descent control. We're still in low range mode with manual gearing. Now I've been told by the instructor that the gears, by selecting the gear, it essentially figures out how fast you want to be going down this hill. So I put this in M1 because I do not have the testicular gumption to do this. Ooh, cool. Whoa. That doesn't want to go straight.
You tap on the brakes. That's why you switch
No, I
off.
didn't touch the brake.
Just now.
Did I? Oh, did I?
That's why it's a little bit faster.
Right. Okay.
But still, at least we have the engine brake.
So don't do what I did. So now we have to climb up 30 degrees. Oh, for God's sake. Right. So this is perhaps the most terrifying part of this course for me so far because all I can see, if you were to ask me, is a massive, muddy wall. But I've been told that apparently the car can do this, so...
This is our need to go to-
All right, so here we go. Here goes nothing.
Alright. Okay, throttle down.
Whoa.
Well done. Good job, you made it in the first try. Alright, next one. Same momentum as well. Gear
Right.
2.
Second gear up the hill. Oh,
Right.
God in heaven. You know what? Watching this being done outside, it looks a lot more dramatic than it appears inside, which I think speaks a lot to, one, the NVH levels in here, which is certainly not something I thought I'd be reviewing right now, but also the capability of the car itself, because it certainly feels like it just makes mincemeat out of things that, again, would terrify most people. Really?
Yeah, this is the
Oh.
final obstacle where no throttle is required, else
Wow.
we'll be going down the hill very fast.
Okay. I want to take this opportunity to mention that M4 Trek, they're clearly very good at this. We've done several off-road courses here. The instructors are very clear with the instructions, so it's easier for me to do this. And frankly, if I didn't have If I didn't have a train instructor to my left, there would have been a brown situation going on here. So this is a section that they've referred to as the deep moguls. Now again, because of the rain that's been battering this course over the last 24 hours, this is now a lot more slippery than expected. Now I've been told that this is the last of the challenges today, thank God. And apparently the car will just do its thing. So I just need to release on the throttle, straight, and the car will do everything for me, apparently. Now, again, because the ruts here are very deep, the chassis is making contact with the ground, but again, this course has been combed through quite tirelessly by the instructors to ensure that there is nothing that could damage the car. I can feel the chassis sort of bumping on the ground, and dragging a little, but generally this is a lot less dramatic than I expected. So this is very impressive performance from the GWM Tank 300, and it certainly goes against what I've said in the past about modern SUVs and their insistence on looking like they can do these sort of things and then not. Because clearly, this car looks the business because it can keep up. Oof. And wear out and through. Again, mildly terrifying, but oof. Certainly one of the toughest off-road tracks I've ever had to manage in this country, at least. And the Tank 300 is doing pretty well. So, if you ask me about my opinion of this, I mean, it clearly looks a certain way, and so it does lend to the idea that it might be writing checks it can't cash. But I think today's demonstration has shown enough that this car is capable, far more capable than consumers will ever really find out, and so that's certainly a good thing. Well, thanks to the off-road course here at M4 Trek, they have provided us the ability to figure out just how capable this thing is. Surprisingly, SUVs now, as I mentioned earlier, are largely geared towards people who will never use them off the beaten track, but the GWM Tank 300 aims to take that perception somewhere else altogether. Because even though this is expected to be priced somewhere between 210 to 250,000 ringgit, this car has far more capability than any other SUV within this price range, and will certainly challenge that perception of town cars quite significantly. Now, for the time being, again, we do not have launch prices because this car is technically not yet ready available for sale, which means that there will be one more update coming up to talk about various other matters. But so far, this petrol-powered 2-litre 4-cylinder off-road machine really is far more capable than you think. That wraps up our off-road preview of the GWM Tank 300 here at M4 Trek. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon so notified every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can join our new WhatsApp channel. All the links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care, stay safe, and I need to find a fan.